all offense. Number 8, USC on the road to play Colorado. And I gotta say, USC did their job offensively. Defensively, well, Colorado put up 41 points when they only scored 6 last week to Oregon. Yeah, USC, but hold on to the win after being scoreless in the fourth quarter. But they did end up winning 48-41. Welcome to Down and Distance. Today, Tuesday, October 3rd. Defense or offense, but you can't have both. That's the story of this week USC and Colorado game. I got a good 30-minute show for you. Let's start off with Kansas and Texas as our game of the week. And I gotta say, yeah, I know. Yeah, Kansas is the third best team in the Big 12. Still, after this loss, I still think they're the third best team in the Big 12. Texas clearly number 1, Oklahoma number 2. But, wow, if Texas won 40-14, Red River rivalry is going to be quite a game. But, yeah, here's the total comparison. Texas totally dominated that game. Kansas had a chance in the first half, but Kansas kept it close. Some way, somehow, they kept it close. But, Texas clearly was the better team in this game, and definitely the most dominating team in college football this year. But, Jonathan Brooks, the running back for Texas, was their player of the game. His biggest run is 67 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. He got 218 yards with 21 carries. That is quite a ball game. All right, let's look at our weekend scoreboard. We're starting off with A&M and Arkansas. A&M ended up winning 34-22, and A&M is slowly climbing back up there-ish. I mean, they did barely beat Arkansas. Well, I mean, I guess by double points, but anyway, yeah. A&M, they're a good team, but they're not Alabama and Georgia good. Appalachian State, once again, is featured on here again. They play Louisiana Monroe, and they made the game-winning field goal to win the game 41-40. Next ball game up at Memphis in Missouri. This was a good game for Missouri because they are like the dark horse of the SEC. They are continuing to dominate teams, but yet they're not talking about them. Are they going to be featured on my overrated and underrated segment? We're about to find out. But first, Notre Dame and Duke played each other. It was ESPN's game of the week, and I gotta say, I really wish I picked this one instead because they beat me. I guess I really haven't been the best at picking big-time games this year as much as last year. ESPN's been doing a better job of that, but Notre Dame ends up holding off with the win 21-14. LSU versus Ole Miss. You remember the title of this episode? You see the title of the episode at the bottom? Offense or defense, but you can't have both? Well, the defense certainly did not show up here. It was all offense, and the offense really clicked between each quarter. Ole Miss holding on to the win. Washington. Now, this is the game that I really wanted to see, but again, Pac-12 Network, I couldn't watch it. I still haven't seen Washington play this year either. If they were on TV, there were a lot better games on because they were winning by so much. But Arizona, I know they had a potentially upset alert him. They struggled in this game, but their offense did pretty well. They went 31-24. Georgia was on upset alert on Saturday. Auburn was holding on. They would not let go, but Georgia found a way to score a touchdown at the end of the game and ended up winning 27-20. And Auburn's a good team, but again, they're not ranked. And once again, Georgia first half struggle could if Georgia plays a team that could score in the first half, they're going to have a hard time because they can't score in the first half at all. That was trash. I got some good ones for you this week. It's week 5 terrible plays. Starting up with on-field entertainment. They had 2 students make a sandwich. Yep, human sandwich. I love that dive right there. All right, number 6. We're going to listen.
Heads. Your call. Calls heads. I'm going to retoss that because I did not flip.
Coin flip going wrong. Listen to this interview.
Smile on the way out. Thanks, Coach.
That smile. Hey, yeah, for the show. All right, I'm out of here. All right, this one paid very close to Northwestern where he's throwing it to. Yeah, right to Penn State. That was probably the easiest interception he's ever going to get. Now, keep an eye on this Auburn player, number 33. Yeah, Georgia's finally fighting to... Oh, I'm just going to go down. Okay. Yeah, trying to slow down Georgia's offense. Yeah, crowd did not like that. It's booing. All right, watch this Ole Miss player. Oh, knock him out. Fumble. Wow, this has got to be the hit of the week. Wow, how did he not see that coming? Number 1, ESPN called Dane Day did a kick for money situation, and, yeah, I'm just gonna have you watch this. Right, at the cameraman. That is hilarious. Wow, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that, but, that was trash. Week 5. It's upset alert time! Who got upset this week? We're starting off with Friday Night Lights. Oregon State hosts Utah, and they ended up pulling... They rushed the field. It wasn't much of a rushing the field moment. They barely had anyone there at the game. But they won! They beat number 10 Utah 21-7. And I gotta say, for a team that, or for a school that really doesn't know what conference or what their schedule is going to look like next year, they're not doing half bad. Troy pulling off a big upset. A little preview of my pick'em. I had Georgia State at number 10, confident winning this game. And in case you don't remember, Troy, I actually had them ranked in my preseason top 25. They're at number 25. And they just fell apart, and I realized, okay, it's just not their year. But they ended up winning 28-7. Another big upset. West Virginia. It was an amazing game to get TCU back and forth, but TCU had their struggles. Missing field goals on times where they would have made them last year. West Virginia clearly the better team, winning 24-21. Here's a big upset that I didn't see coming. Florida, I've been hyping up Florida all season long of how they're like the hidden team in the SEC where they're going to pull off some big upset where you don't expect it. Well, I'm changing it to Kentucky now. Kentucky beat Florida 33-14 in an unexpected way I didn't think. And Kentucky's got Georgia this Saturday. That's shaping up to be a good one. And here is our player of the week from Kentucky. Yeah, Ray Davis had 26 carries, 280 yards. He averaged about almost 11 yards a carry. And his longest was 75 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns that game. 3 touchdowns against Florida. Florida's got some defense to work on. And now we go to Clemson versus Syracuse. Now, this one was going to be a big game. I knew it was going to be a much-watched game. Syracuse, 4-0 heading into this game. Clemson, 2-2. It's going to be a difficult game. Do not ignore the standings. I mean, their record heading into this game. Because Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you can look at it, but kind of forget about it because Clemson's still Clemson. But they pull on the road, they pull off a big upset over Syracuse, and they were definitely the most better team. Dallas Fudo had them ready, and probably the biggest comeback Baylor's ever seen, and probably the biggest comeback we'll ever see this year. Baylor was down 35-7 at the start of the fourth quarter. That score is not a typo. Baylor won 36-35. Alright, let's check in on Iowa's offense update. Yes, Iowa put up points this week. They beat Michigan State 26-16. Yeah, they finally got their offense rolling, and putting up 26 points. I think the offensive coordinator is back on track. But let's take a quick look. He's at a 111 points, but he's still got a long road to go before he reaches 325. Alright, it's time for a very popular segment that I like doing, overrated and underrated, where I'm comparing which team, or not really comparing, but kind of comparing to two teams that need that overrated team. Notre Dame this week. Notre Dame, overrated. Why are they overrated? Well, I mean, they barely beat Duke. They lost to Ohio State. They're not that bad of a team, but they don't know how to finish games. They are overrated this week, not because of their the way they win. They are or their play calling and the way they're finishing the game. They are overrated because they don't know how to count. Last week on Ohio State's key plays of the game, the two last plays of the game in a game-winning touchdown, both of them coming out of a timeout. 10 players on the field. This week, a Duke touchdown. They had 13 players on the field, and they still didn't stop them. Notre Dame doesn't know how to count for some reason. Yeah, I'm going to call them Marcus Freeman can't count. Until they get it right, they can't count. My underrated team, beating my underrated team, or my season underrated team, yeah, Kentucky. Kentucky looked amazing against Florida. They got Georgia this week. They have a real chance. If Auburn can hang in with Georgia, Kentucky has a real shot at not just doing the same thing Auburn did, but they got the defense to stop Georgia's offense. Offense is really not that good, but Kentucky's got offense. Kentucky's offense is better than Georgia's defense. I will say Georgia's defense is better than Kentucky's offense. So the real show, Kentucky's defense versus Kentucky's offense. That is going to be quite a show. And Kentucky has a really good shot at winning that game. So keep a very, very close eye on Kentucky this week and moving on, because they look really good right now. Alright, College Pick'em. How'd I do this week? 6 for 4. I'll take it. Still a W. 30 points. Not bad, because it was, even though, yeah, you're probably like, how do you only get 30 points when you got 6 wins? It's confidence. I really didn't, the games I won were really low, so based on confidential level, I didn't do really great. But, and 30 points is terrible, so this is probably my worst week, but I still win 6 for 4. I'll take it. I'm 34 for 16 on the season, jumping over 200 points, and Notre Dame and Duke, I guess the total points would be 47. It was 35, so I was 12 points over. I was still close enough. I'll take it. I was, well, yeah, I was way off, yeah. But I will say that's probably the closest I'll ever be. And then on the spread, I guess 52. I wanted to go big this time in the spread. That was playing out awful. But I went 7 for 3 with 70 points. That was a This was a big spread week for me. I normally don't too well get the spread, but that was really good. I'm 31-19 on the season with over 300 points now. And I did get the spread right. Notre Dame did. Notre Dame was a 5-point favorite. They covered. They did barely win the game, but they did cover, and I had them covering. So that was a really good week for me in the spread. I really did really great against the spread. And I will say this. It's really hard to have a perfect week. And it's really hard to just get only 3 games wrong. So, I'm really happy about the spread this year. I mean, it kind of flipped. I mean, from last year. I was horrible against the spread last year. I made adjustment this year, and it's paying off. Got some NFL headlines for you. Kenny Pick'em will practice. Yeah, he had a bone bruise in the last game, and he has seen practicing the last couple days on Monday and today. So, good to see that the Steelers likely will be getting him back because the Steelers really need him. Alright, NFL scoreboard. Starting off with the Swifties. Yeah, that's what they're called now. I really should change their name. Alright, here you go. The Kansas City Chiefs are now the Swifties. That's what the media has been calling them. I'm going to start calling them now. Even though that everyone has been saying, oh, they were not popular until Taylor Swift started going to games. Those are just the non-football fans. But they did end up winning 23-20. The Broncos versus the Bears, the next talk game. The Broncos win 31-28. I gotta say, that I watched a little bit of that game. It was back and forth. The Bears really struggled. Also, there was a time the Bears went for a 4th and short in field goal range late in the game, and they didn't get it. Broncos got the ball back and won the game. Yeah. Alright, and also, there were 2 games that went to overtime. The first one up was the Rams and the Colts. Yep. The Rams made it look like they got a touchdown in overtime. I did not see this game, sorry. But, yeah, the Rams did end up winning 29-23. Yeah. Yeah, me knowing the NFL rule based on that, the score difference, that it was a touchdown. They gave them the win. And here's the other overtime game. Eagles getting a field goal to win that game. Again, I know when I didn't watch this game. Well, I did a little bit of it, but I didn't see the end. But, seeing that, score difference there, that the Eagles beat the Commanders 34-31 with a field goal, and time ran out on the Commanders. It looks like that. Alright, and the last game to talk about, the Dolphins and the Bills. The game of the week didn't turn out to be the game of the week. But, it was a big upset. I mean, looking at the beginning of the year, this is a game that I think the Bills could have won easily. This is how I predict this game to turn out. But based off last week, I thought this was going to be a really good close game. I thought this would be a defensive game. The Bills' offense showed out 48-20. Little revenge on the Dolphins from last week. And I got another Travis Hunter update for you. I'm back on college football news. He is now going to be likely to miss the next 2 games. Yikes. So, that's not good for Colorado. Although, after the points they put up against USC, I don't think they have to worry too much. I think Colorado's offense is pretty set. It's just as long as they don't run into Oregon again. Sorry, Oregon. As long as they don't play Oregon again, I think they'll be good. And also, Iowa is in trouble offensively. Their quarterback is going to be out for the remainder of the season with an ACL tear. So, yeah, Iowa's not going to score any more points now if their top quarterback is out for the remainder of the season. So, not looking too good for Iowa's offense right there. I really need to learn that offensive coordinator's name because there's going to be a lot of talk about him because he very likely could be fired. Also, a little update for you. Riley Leonard, Duke quarterback, has a high ankle sprain and probably will miss the rest of October. But I'm really predicting maybe a November-ish arrival. I don't know who Duke is playing in November, but that's going to be a big loss for Duke right there. So I guess next year for Duke. There's always next year. All right, let's take a look at my rankings compared to the AP. At number 25, I have Maryland. I have Maryland jumping in my rankings. Missouri is in my rankings now, and Ole Miss is back after their win against LSU. Oregon State still in there, and Washington State. Boy, Washington State and Oregon State are both still ranked. They both are good, but the Pac-12 eventually got to play each other, and some teams got to fall out. But Maryland, Missouri, keep an eye on those two teams. They can, once they play the good team in the SEC, we'll find out truly what they are made out of. But, yeah, these 5 teams right here can make an impact on college football this week and potentially knock out a playoff team. Moving on to the rest, my top 20. I got Kansas State, and then at 19, I got A&M. Yeah, a lot of people are like, why do you still have A&M ranked? They've been winning their games. I mean, I know it hasn't been pretty, but they're winning their games. LSU is at 18, North Carolina at 19, and I have Miami at 16. Yeah, I also have Miami ranked. I don't think Miami looked too bad either. I like the way that they've been playing. North Carolina, too. A&M, LSU, I mean, yeah, LSU did lose to Ole Miss, but I mean, they're not that bad. They just got to fix some their miscommunications, and they would be a really good team. So I know Miami really hasn't played anybody, but I think Miami has a really good chance at either being Clemson or Florida State if they do have them on their schedule. I'll have to double check on that. But Utah is at 15, Kentucky's at 14, Tennessee at 13, and number 12 is Notre Dame, and 11 is USC. I didn't move them at all. They probably would have if they played defense. But Kentucky is my biggest jump this week. Utah is my biggest fall. Tennessee and Notre Dame, improving their schedule and going up a few. But yeah, and that's really the biggest change. My top 10 looks really similar. My top 6 didn't change at all. But yeah, here's my top 10. Is it Alabama at 10 still? No, it's Washington. That likely means that I moved Alabama up a spot to 9. Number 8, I got Oklahoma, and number 6, I have Texas. And it's very likely, based on the game Saturday, that the winner of the Red River rivalry could potentially be number 1. And the loser, down the road as we get into November, the loser of that game, those two will likely meet each other in the Big 12 Championship, but the loser likely might be in the top 4. So Texas and Oklahoma could potentially be both in the playoff. You heard me. Texas and Oklahoma are both good enough to be in the playoff. The Big 12 get 2 teams this year. Also, Washington, they get my respect and moving into the top 10. And then my top 6 is unchanged this week. It's Ohio State at 1, Florida State at 2, Georgia at 3, 6 is Oregon, 4 is Penn State, and number 5 is Michigan. And I gotta say, this is all about to change. With Texas and Oklahoma this week, there's gonna be some big changes. And Georgia's got Kentucky, I'm not Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and Oregon. I'm not sure who they're playing. Either I think Oregon's got a bye or they're not really playing a good team. Anyway, yeah, Georgia's got a really big week this week, Kentucky, so it'll be really interesting to see what the changes are make this weekend. There will be changes, but the AP, just like me, keeping their top 6 unchanged with Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Texas at 3. Yeah, they got Texas at 3. It's going to be a big one. Penn State at 6. Number 4, Ohio State, and number 5 is Florida State. Yeah. It's kind of weird because normally there's a lot, every week there's a change in, the top 6. That's why I do the top 6 graphic to, compare the two. But they're real, especially my rankings, the AP, I usually don't do that much change early in the season, but AP usually has to change every week in the top 6. We're just not seeing this. I just do not have much to talk about until these teams play teams yet. But here's some notes about the AP this week. Kentucky and Louisville are now ranked. Dropping Florida and Kansas, and Oregon State and Ole Miss goes up the most, 4 points, basically, or 4 spots. And Utah and LSU have fall down the most in AP rankings this week. So, yeah, there's your little notes. And, I gotta say, this is probably I gotta have a lot of AP notes next week. I will say that there are some good, I wouldn't say good big games this week, but games that can impact the playoff down the road, setting up games for later in the season. But let's check out what's going around the network here on Busy Sports. Hardwood Hoops is back tomorrow. Yeah, a little short show tomorrow at 6 on Wednesday. And then we got American Game Day Saturday at 10 a.m. Red River Rivalry. I'm going to be talking about that game the whole show, non-stop hour of the Oklahoma and Texas. And then I'm going to be recapping that game Monday at 6 o'clock on Slave Report Podcast. And more recap of the whole week on Down and Distance next Tuesday at 6. So that's all our schedule for Busy Sports. Don't forget to check out our website for the latest news, scores, stats, etc. But yeah, a lot of plans for Busy Sports this month. And NBA getting ready to tip off tomorrow internationally. But I'll have that for you. But we got some games this week. Oh yeah, that's right. Ohio State does have a good team this week. They got Maryland. AP might not rank them, but they're number 25 in my ranking. Ohio State number 1 in my rankings. It's big noon kickoff 11 on Fox. This is going to be a big game. Ohio State wins this game. Not only did they prove they're number 1, beating Notre Dame, they didn't. I think Notre Dame probably should have won that game, but they did. But Notre Dame's mistakes gave Ohio State the win. But if they beat Maryland, once again, they proved that they should be number 1. Unless Texas and Oklahoma climb on up there. Ohio State may fall down to number 2. Depending on how they play this game. But LSU and Missouri, gonna be a big game. Now, this is a really true test to see what Missouri is made out of. They're undefeated. They don't look too bad, but this is where it ends, or when it really proves if they are really truly a ranked team. If they can beat Brian Kelly and a 23-ranked LSU, this is going to be huge. And Missouri is the higher-ranked team. So Missouri is actually favored in this game, but yet LSU has been getting all the credit on how good they are. So, yeah, some revenge for Missouri. Pac-12 we go. I won't be able to see this game, but yet another, I would say, a top 30 matchup. I think UCLA is in the top 30, but Washington State number 13 on the road to UCLA at 2 o'clock, Pac-12 Network. And this is going to be a really big game because Chip Kelly needs to prove a point that he can still coach. He really isn't too great in the pros in the NFL, but he shines in college football. He hasn't done that yet since he was hired at UCLA. So this is going to be a big game for him. Syracuse having their first loss. They go on a road to a really good North Carolina team who's had some not perfect games. I mean, they've had their ups and downs. Some games, one side the ball looked good, the other side, it's the other side. One game, it's the other side of the ball. But North Carolina is ranked 21. They look good. They don't look too bad. They win their games at home. And it's going to be a really good test for us, Syracuse after their loss to Clemson. See how they respond to that loss. 3 o'clock on Fox on Saturday. UCF, after their disappointing loss to Baylor, a game that they should have won, they're on the road to Kansas, a team that probably had a chance to knock down number 3 Texas and got totally annihilated in the second half. I knew Texas was going to win that game, but Kansas should have definitely kept it closer than it was. And then our SEC game of the week, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Kentucky versus Georgia. Kentucky has a really, really good chance of winning this game. After the way Auburn nearly took down Georgia, Kentucky for sure has the offense to put up points in the first half. Georgia, that's something that they can't do. So, Georgia will have to work from behind, just like they did with Auburn the whole game. But this time, Kentucky got the offense where they can continue scoring points off of it. But that's going to be a good test. And then Notre Dame and LSU, 6:30 on ABC. This is going to be a good one because, once again, Notre Dame has another ranked team. This is a must win for Notre Dame. Not only do they have to win this game, they have to win this game by double digits if they really prove that they're not only a top 10 team, but a playoff team with their loss to Ohio State. And then Mountain West got a good game. Fresno State, Wyoming. Both those two schools are known for taking out Power 5 schools. Well, those two are playing each other 6 o'clock Saturday on Fox. Yeah, it's going to be on Fox now over the Big 12. Yeah, but going to be a big game. And then our game of the week at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas. The Red River Rivalry. Number 12, Oklahoma versus number 3, Texas. 11 o'clock on ABC. ESPN College Game Day will be down there. It's the Texas State Fair 2023 Red River Rivalry. Gonna be a big game. And I will say that this is going to be definitely not going to be like last year at all, and it's definitely not going to look like the past games in history where it's all offense and no defense. This is going to be a defensive game. It's going to be a defense. The winner of this game is going to be the running game, who can run the ball the most, and who can get the most turnovers. Turnovers is going to be the turnover, what I'm trying to think of, but yeah, whoever can win turnovers is the winner of this game. It's going to be all defense is my prediction. I'll have more talk about that game on American Day Saturday, and I'll have a full recap on that show next Tuesday at 6. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all on Saturday.